So today I want to talk to you about goats, and I want to tell you why you need to get a goat. If you've got a little bit of land, they should be the second animal you get, in my opinion, after chickens. And I'm going to tell you why now. Goats are an incredible animal for self-sufficiency. They need a quarter of the space that cows need, and they produce milk, which then makes butter, ice cream, cheese. Great cheese. I love goat's cheese. And they also produce meat. So I'm just going to say hello to some of my girls here, and hopefully they're not going to be camera shy. Hey. So here's one of my goats, and she is nearly 2 years old. We've had her about 6 months, 7 months. And when we got her, she'd not had any kids. Say hello. Now she's called a Toggenburg. Toggenburgs, like Alpines, which is my other adult goat over there, are a great milking goat. Now when they first came here, we put them all with a billy, or a buck as they're called in America. And they have just recently, in the last week, given birth. So out of our 3 milking girls that we had, we've got 4 kids, and I think we've just called for them, have we? Oh, there we go. So we were very lucky with the kids. We got 3 girls and a boy. Now the boy we will castrate, and I will do that in the next 3 or 4 weeks, and he will go on to be food in the freezer. Goat meat is very much like lamb. The girls, we haven't yet decided, and we don't need to for quite some time, but they will either go with him or they might stay as part of the milking herd. Now, the space we've got here, we've only got room for maybe 3 or 4 adult goats full time, plus the additional male occasionally for stud work, and the kids from time to time. So we're not looking to increase our herd. Plus that girl there, who I've had for a year and a bit now, Fern her name is, she alone, that Alpine goat, produces at full capacity maybe 12 pints a day, which is phenomenal. So if you think, if these other 2 are anywhere near that, we're looking at 30 pints a day minimum, which is quite enough for us to produce all of our dairy from, you know, yogurt, milk, cheese, butter, ice cream, the lot. You know, 30 pints a day is a lot. And to know that we can have that self-sufficiency here on the farm is just amazing to us. Now, the other great thing about goats is their feed. Now, their feed is predominantly brush. And as you can see, we've got access to a tremendous amount of hedging and trees that constantly need trimming. So that forms a good part of their diet. Not all their diet, but a good part of their diet. We also, or I, reached out when we first moved here to some local fruit and veg shops, and a local bakery, and a local brewery. So on an average week, we would collect 2 big 50-litre dustbins of fruit and veg that had gone past being able to sell to customers. We would also collect double that in bread that has been like the leftover dough that they then cook into giant loaves of bread, just because it's easier for them to dispose of that way than dispose of the dough. And also the brewery, we get spent grains. Now I would say that between that and the shrubs we have here, we probably make up 80 to 90% of the goat's diet with stuff that we don't have to pay for, which is fantastic. We do supplement their diet with some what's called high yield goat mix, because I just want to make sure that they've got everything that they need. And you know, I want them to be happy, and they love it. So, you know, I do make sure they get some of that every day. Now, another thing with goats is that they need a mineral lick. Now, they need copper in their diet, which sheep don't. So as a result, the goat's mineral lick is hung up here, just out of reach of our sheep, who's got her own lick somewhere else, which the goats can have. But the sheep can't eat the goat lick because copper is toxic to sheep. But as you can see there, our sheep. I'm just waving to my son. Hello! We keep our sheep all in together with our goats, and I would say they've got about just over an acre here, and we rotate the ground. We've had a very heavy winter, and we did struggle for a little bit until about a week ago when the weather finally eased off with muddy ground. But as you can see, it's coming back nicely, and we just about got through it. And you know, another great thing about goats is just their character. They really are fantastic, playful characters, and I personally think they make awesome pets. And when you watch the kids play, you know, imagine having this every year for your kids to come and play with. They're so playful. They're not quite used to me yet, but they will be in time, just like their parents. Now, fencing's very important with goats. In my experience, now this is only my experience, and you'll hear lots of different things. In my experience, generally the adult females are much calmer and easier to contain than the adult males we've had here. Both wethers, which are the castrated males from last year's kidding, but also studs that we've brought in. The adult females are much easier to contain, and as you can see, all we've got is probably averaging 4.5 foot high, one rail, and then some stock fencing. Now, obviously it's important to me to strike the right balance here, because not only have I got to build all the fencing, but I've also got to buy the materials, and they're not cheap. So I'm not putting up higher fencing than I need. Another quick look at the kids there. So there you go. That's some of the reasons why I think goats should be the second animal you get if you're thinking of self-sufficiency, because they tick so many boxes and they're great to be around. They really are. If you find these videos valuable, there's several ways you can support them. You can simply like it, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to our channel. These are great ways to support what we're doing here. Another thing you can do is to share this video somewhere or with someone that you think might enjoy it, and we really appreciate everyone that does that. Thanks very much. See you on the next one.